Hi everyone, I've never done this before. I'm Taylor, this is my husband Chad, and we were a part of the first film, Buttress. We're very happy to be here on Valentine's weekend.
Hi everybody, my name is Jeff Blankenship. I directed Tasteful Pick.
I'm Jessica Contreras. I was co-writer and actor in A Tasteful Pick.
I am Eric Gulbrandsen, and I co-directed Deermageddon, or The Rise of Deermageddon, rather.
I'm J.B. Thompson. I was the principal writer and director, co-director of The Rise of Deermageddon.
I am Antonio Polk. I produced, directed, and co-directed, produced, directed, and starred in Detained. I wrote as well.
We're just going to go ahead and open up to questions right away. So if anybody's got anything for these people, speak up. Yes.
Hi. So I'm just Emily for Buttress. I really enjoyed your film. I'm just curious about the station wagon. It's a great blast from the gas. Was there like some thought behind it, or it was just?
Yes, and my husband, I'm going to make my husband come up and talk about it as well. I'm Taylor, I produced the film, and my husband is the cinematographer. So the director isn't with us tonight, but she's a very dear friend of ours, and we were planning, the car we were planning to use, like up basically until like a couple days, because we were searching for like a car with character, you know, and you don't have much of a budget, so you're trying to find favors or whatever. And you would have a cool car connect, but Chad was like, we should look on Craigslist.
Craigslist. So we started just kind of browsing Craigslist for cars for sale, and we saw this station wagon, and so much of the film takes place in kind of revolving around this station wagon. It was like recently after COVID, and so it was kind of part of elements of COVID determined kind of what we could and couldn't make at the time in the area we were at. So much of the piece kind of takes around the station wagon, and so we emailed this guy, and he said, use my station wagon. So we borrowed this guy's station wagon that he was trying to sell.
And he was it turned out it was like, the owner of that car is an 18-year-old boy. When I went to pick it up, and I made like a male friend come with me, because I didn't know who I was meeting. And he like comes out, and I'm like, oh, he's like 10 years younger than me, like, okay. And he was just so excited to be a part of it. So it's just, that's, I think, the nature of like short films or, art is like, it takes a village, and there's so many like nuances and little stories behind everything to make it happen. And so thank you for sharing this with us.
You still have the car, and are you selling it?
We don't know. I don't know. I think he sold the car. Yeah, so I don't know where it is now. You guys might see it around. Who knows?
Questions out?
You know, Chris, I think that was a really cool surprise that they had that they didn't anticipate in the making of the film. Were any of you guys, what surprises happened when you made your movies that really kind of were this happenstance that made it even better?
And actually, that's probably a good question for you guys, because yours was part of the 48-hour film challenge.
It was. Yeah, we're going to fight over it.
Yes.
I think Matthew's monologue that made everyone crack up about Sadie, his mouse. Some of that was pre-written, and a lot of that was improvised. I told them just to like go for it. And so we had a lot of good improv in that film. We had a lot of stuff we had to cut because it wasn't appropriate.
That monologue that he did, I let him go for 7 minutes.
Yeah, it was
And so
ridiculous.
the film could only be 7 minutes long. That scene, I let him riff for 7 minutes, and we were on the floor laughing. If we could have just
Well,
done that
quietly
for 7
laughing.
minutes. Quietly. But when he said, there's another cut of that where he's crying about Sadie, and Sadie says mouse. And when he calls out, hold me, he's so distraught over Sadie's passing. It was hilarious. But one of the things to your question, Craig, was, it's a 48-hour project, so you're shooting all day, Saturday through the night. And all of a sudden, my gaffer says, oh, I've got a hard out at 5 o'clock, meaning I have to leave at 5 o'clock. What are you doing to us? And it was just a misunderstanding, but then you gotta scramble and figure it out, which we did. But that was a not planned for thing.
Tell everybody what the 48-hour film challenge is. I think that would help.
Yeah, the 48-hour is kind of a departure from standard filmmaking. You only have 48 hours to write, cast, film, edit, produce the entire film. You can't have the story in hand. You've got to write it when the clock starts. We're given a prop, we're given a line, we're given a character. So you don't even know, and a genre, you don't even know what the genre is going to be. And so then the writer has to step in with that at the last minute and figure this all out after we've already randomly picked a cast and a location, hoping it all fits.
Yeah,
So it's a challenge.
The prop was cheese, if you
Yeah.
couldn't tell. And then the line was, oh gosh.
Oh, your feedback is
Your
important.
feedback is important to us, yeah. And someone had to be what was her?
The Nordenstrom.
Yeah, Chris Nordenstrom. Had to be, yeah,
So it's a different approach to filmmaking. You don't get to take a million takes. You don't get to take 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 days. You don't get to do a lot of things. So what's really critical, and I really applaud Jessica, is you've got to be able to write in that narrow time frame to tell a story. The film can only be 7 minutes long. So you have to produce. You got to come up with a storyline that's going to read well without a lot of development and still be entertaining. So it's a bit of a challenge. It's a little bit different than traditional stuff.
Deermageddon guys, do you have things that happen while you're doing this one?
I'll let JB start with this.
Well, first of all, thank you guys from the Door County Film Festival for having us as part of this. And we shot that entire thing in like an extended 17-hour day. So it was all hands on deck early in the morning, and I think the Slate gal who did the makeup and stuff like that, I think we were the last people to leave in the wee hours of the morning. And so it was a ton of fun to do it, and yeah, there was a ton of surprises. I mean, we recorded all the music ahead of time, so we had all that stuff done going into the shoot and putting everything together, and I mean, we're running on next to nothing, right? I think we shot it for $1,000, with all the equipment, all of the people and everybody that was there. It was definitely tons of surprises, but it was so much fun. We were blessed with such a great cast of actors, and hopefully you recognize them, like Amy was in A Tasteful Pick, and Kayla was in The Last Rung, and so like CJ's done a ton of things, Craig's here, Tara's here, so it was really just a fun project full of surprises, and I hope the result turned out to be at least somewhat entertaining.
Yeah, part of that village to put a film together. Yeah?
Exactly, thank you.
Probably one of my surprises is when you have a scene that's loosely scripted, how sometimes some of those improvised things can be some of the best parts of the scene. And, of course, to talk about my wife, Tara, at the very end where she's the reporter, and she screams and she throws the microphone, which was not part of the plan, and that perfect spiral where it just lands right in front of the camera as the camera's going down, like, that was like hitting a winning lottery ticket. Like you couldn't plan for that. And we didn't write it like that, but when we saw the shot in the end, it was like, oh wow, that's so great. And I discovered my wife has a terrific horror scream, which I had no idea. But that's a story for another day.
And Antonio, yeah, you probably have something.
Yeah. I think that when I first wrote Detained, it didn't have the twist in it as far as myself playing a character that was actually beating himself up about the mistake that he made when he was younger. I completely wrote it different, but I presented the script to a gentleman who's a co-director named Rocco Cataldo. He loved the script, but he said, "Hey, why don't we incorporate this twist in it, and make yourself the person who was beating up yourself when you were younger." So that whole twist wasn't my actual idea; it was Rocco Cataldo's idea. So we kind of collaborated, and I just took that in, and it just brought the film. It just put a whole different twist on the film itself. So that was my surprise.
All right, let's give it up for these guys. We're gonna take a little bit of a break.